You're listening to Pombo and Peter's Picks, the home of your favorite sports betting podcast. Presented by The Daily Goat.
Hello, welcome to another episode of Pombo and Peter's Picks. I'm Jason Pombo, joined as always by Peter Elves. Peter, how we doing? Happy Thursday. The NFL season continues. Playoff picture is becoming a thing. How's it going with you?
Oh yeah, NFL season continues and it's dragging on, and I'm not happy about it. All the teams that are good, obviously, but like there's a ton of crap just everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, to me, this has been a very obscure NFL season. We have those teams at the top, like the Kansas City Chiefs, the Philadelphia Eagles, a couple others. But then you have like this kind of bottom group to like middle group it's just, I don't know, even the division leaders, like you look at specifically the NFC, the Bucs, who we'll get into later, lead the NFC South. They're not a good football team. They're simply not. You look at other divisions, you have some questions in the AFC South. Can the Titans actually beat good teams? I know their record's good, but they just lost at home against the Titans. Like there's some question marks there. They just lost at home against the Bengals. There's some question marks there. Just the NFC in general. Like you look at the Dallas Cowboys, the Eagles, they look like the San Francisco 49ers. They look like they're legit. But there's other teams like the Giants, the Seahawks, who kind of came down back to earth the last, 2 or 3 weeks. So it's been a weird NFL year. I'm with you, Peter, but NFL is king.
We keep on going
Keep
along.
on
Week
trucking.
13, it's 5 more weeks till the regular season's finally over. And yeah.
Keep on trucking, Peter. All right, how'd you do last week?
I went 2-3 last week. I won my premium pick of the week, Dolphins minus 13.5, and we won our Lions plus 9.5. You squeaked out the Cowboys. I lost the Cowboys minus 10 right at the end, backdoor cover. Patriots plus 2.5, and then the Bucs minus 3.5. So rip. I don't think I'm gonna bet on the Bucs until the playoffs.
I love the Bucs this week. That was my premium pick of the week, and I of course was wrong on that one. I also went 2-3, Peter. And look, when you look at how I did, right? Like we said before, the Lions, Peter, you already got into them. I had the Giants, that backdoor cover at plus 10. That was huge for me. And then my other W was actually, those are my only W's. My losses were the Bucs minus 3.5, like I said, which was my premium. The Chargers minus 3. The Chargers only won by a point. And then I had the under for the Patriots Vikings under 43. So other than that, Peter, I went 2-3. I was disappointed because I was 2-1.
I knew that was gonna lose the last game, right? The first drive.
As soon as the Giants covered, I was like, "There's no way the under's hitting." Like I didn't think there was any shot.
I did win my Thanksgiving parlay though. I did the Lions plus 9.5 and Portugal because I did not want to bet on the Patriots.
So. Boom! There you go. Look at that, Peter. And of course, Portugal took care of business on Thanksgiving too. That game was close.
How was the Pombo household during Thanksgiving? Was it?
It was. Tell you what, the morning it was stressful, very stressful morning, because it was a 3-2 game. The game was close, especially at the end. Like it was really close, but they ended up getting the W, and then Portugal beat Uruguay yesterday or a couple days ago 2-0. So they're moving on to the round of 16. They have to play your guys, South Korea.
I'm saying this facetiously because obviously Korea has little to no chance of moving on, but sit all your starters. So
I agree. They should
actually get a win. Please.
I agree. I think, well, Portugal's already clinched. I think they're going to take it easy. And something that I just found out, Peter, which is pretty ironic. South Korea's coach, he used to be the head coach of Portugal. Did not know that. I saw it on TikTok and I was like, oh, I remember this guy, Paulo Bento. Yeah, he used to be the Portugal coach, and I think he coached them in at least one World Cup, maybe another. He wasn't very good.
It's sad that game won't count though.
Yes,
rivalry, but Korea sucks, so it's all right.
Disappointing. All right, Peter, let's talk a little bit about the Thanksgiving ending here. The Patriots played the Vikings. This was a game that you had the Patriots. I had the under. Both of us were wrong. I was way more wrong than you. And I think probably the lead storyline for this game was the Patriots offense finally clicking. They weren't able to click in the red zone, but they were able to put up 26 points against the Vikings. They came up short. They lose 33-26. Mac Jones had his best game of the season, 28-39, 382 yards and 2 touchdowns. Devontae Parker had 4 receptions for 80 yards. Ramondre Stevenson had 9 catches for 76 yards. Other side of things, Kirk Cousins, He was surgical in this game. He was 30 of 37 for 299 yards, 3 touchdowns, and an interception. And Justin Jefferson was nearly unstoppable for the Vikings. He had 9 catches for 139 yards and 1 touchdown on 11 targets. The Patriots truly had no answer for Justin Jefferson after he nearly had 100 yards receiving in the first half alone. And another lead storyline for this game here, Peter, was the Hunter Henry catch. For those of you that don't know, it was a 3rd and goal situation from, I think it was the 7-yard line. Hunter Henry caught a ball at the 1-yard line and extended for the goal line. And I guess the NFL ruled the ball incomplete. It looked to me that Hunter Henry had his hand under the football. So, Peter, what do you think of the catch rule as it is? Are you still confused about what a catch truly is?
I mean, we always are if you maintain control, if you don't maintain control. If we had this podcast whenever, 2014 or whatever it was, I still said that Dez did not catch it. So you got to be consistent here. I mean, don't reach over the goal line. And if you didn't like that call, like, what was that, like 4 or 5 years ago, the Jesse James touchdown, that should have
2018.
That should have been a touchdown. That shouldn't. So, I mean, it breaks your way and it doesn't break your way. Obviously, we all want, well, not all wanted, but Patriot fans wanted that. Obviously, it was a big swing in the game, but it didn't get it done.
Yeah,
I didn't think it was a catch though.
You didn't think it was a catch. The one thing that I will say is
in real time, I thought it was a catch.
Oh, 100%. To me, it felt like his hand was always under the ball. We saw the ball kind of slide up after I guess it hit the turn. It's just the NFL continues to put themselves in a position in which they oversimplify things and things get super complicated. And it's kind of at the point where a lot of people don't know what a catch is. And this was one of those plays similar to the Jesse James, similar to the Dez Bryant, in which a lot of people are like, catch, like that's a catch. And it just did not end up being that way. And this was a game that, I mean, this was a play in the game in which it was a big deal because if the Patriots would have gotten that touchdown, they would have been up by, I believe, 7 points in the game, and the game could have absolutely shifted. Instead, the Patriots fall 7 points short. And instead of being a 33-26 loss, it would have been 33-30, and that last drive for the Patriots could have looked different. So things get a little weird with the catch rule. So what was your take overall of the Patriots offense in the game? Are you,
their offense
happy it looked better?
Yeah, their offense looked really good. Obviously, Jacoby Myers getting hurt. Yeah, I thought that after the Jacoby Myers injury, I thought that the offense would have looked inept because they don't have really anybody. I mean, Devontae Parker is a nice story. And obviously, they were Ramondre Stevenson, but he can only do so much. But they pulled through without Jacoby Myers. That was pretty good to see. The Patriots offense looked alive for the first time probably all the season. Mac Jones, 382 yards, 2 touchdowns. Ramondre Stevenson just catches the ball with Damian Harris going down. Ramondre Stevenson should literally probably touch the ball probably 30 plus times. It was pretty good. It wasn't on the Patriots offense for a change this game.
Yeah, so. I think the special teams and defense were primarily responsible.
Oh, it's all the defense. They didn't get. Did they get 1 sack? Oh, Josh Uche got a sack.
Josh Uche got a sack. They did get, yeah. And they had the 1 turnover as well. But I think, yeah, absolutely, the defense did not play up to par. I think, and look, they struggled taking away Justin Jefferson, as I kind of led off of. And they didn't really have any issue with Dalvin Cook, which I was pleasantly surprised about. Cook was held to 42 rushing yards on 22 carries. But when you look at the Patriots schedule, they play a lot of number 1 receivers upcoming. This coming week, they have Stephon Diggs. No, you're good. They have Stephon Diggs. The following week, they have Hopkins. The week after that, Devontae Adams. Then Jamar Chase, Tyreek Hill. Like they have to deal with these number 1 receivers. And if this is what's to come in terms of stopping the number 1 receivers for the opposing teams, it's going to be a long rest of the year for the Patriots.
Yeah, I was surprised because obviously the Patriots of old, they're not the Patriots of old, but like they took away your best thing. Maybe it's Dalvin Cook, but they have a good run defense overall. I thought that Justin Jefferson, obviously he'll get some, but I didn't think he would get 130 yards, especially in the first half. He was all over the field.
Yeah. So with this game, the Vikings improved to 9-2, and the Patriots fall to 6-5. So I'll start off with the Vikings. Like we've talked about for the last, it feels like 6 weeks, they're going to win the NFC North. I believe they can clinch it actually this coming week or the week after.
Sad.
Does this game change how you look at the Vikings? You still call them pretenders more than contenders, right?
Yeah, they're a con artist. I think Kirk Cousins is gonna turn into a shell sometime. Maybe it'll be the playoffs. Maybe maybe it'll even be the Super Bowl. Who knows? But I think they're a little overrated. Obviously, they have pieces all around in offense, but I don't think their O-line, especially now with all their injuries, can hold up. And I think their defense is a little fraudulent too.
Yeah. My take on the Vikings. So I originally picked them to get to the Super Bowl in the preseason, if you remember correctly. And part of the reason why I did so was because I thought the NFC was kind of going to be kind of a weaker conference, and that has come to fruition. Now, there's still teams, in my opinion, that are more inferior than they are. Like, I think the Eagles, the Cowboys, the 49ers. Like, I think I'd put those three teams in front of them. But look, things happen. Things can get fluky. Justin Jefferson is a game changer. He's a game wrecker. If he's on and an opposition has trouble taking him away, sure, the Vikings can steal a playoff game or two. As long as Kirk Cousins doesn't melt down, the Vikings are going to be in it. And they're going to they're going to be a number 2 seed in all likelihood, 2 or 3 seed. They're going to have home field probably the first the first 2 games of the playoffs. So look, their destiny is in their own hands. And I do think this team has the weapons that should scare opposing defenses, like you said before, Dalvin Cook, Adam Thielen, KJ Osborne, and of course, Justin Jefferson. So as long as Kirk Cousins doesn't necessarily melt, it's positive. And for the Kirk Cousins always melts in primetime narrative, he didn't melt down in this game. I know he had that one interception, but for the most part, he was great. He hit the checkdowns. He hit Justin Jefferson in the numbers multiple times. This was a good game for Cousins. Yeah, this was if you're a Kirk Cousins hater per se, this wasn't a game for you.
Yeah,
now,
I agree.
Other side of the coin, Peter, the Patriots fall to 6-5 on the year. We've talked about how their schedule, of course, is going to get increasingly tougher, and it started last week and it continues on to this week. Do you consider the Patriots game against the Bills a must-win?
No, because they face the Dolphins and the Bills to end the season. If they lose on Thursday, I think they have to win out in order to make the playoffs, which I don't think will happen anyways. But I don't think it's a must-win.
Yeah,
No.
it feels like a lot of the storyline in the narrative is like, oh, it's a must-win for the Patriots. I don't see it that way either. Let's say they lose right this week, they'll fall to 6-6. Then they have 2 games on the road, right, against inferior opponents in the Arizona Cardinals and the Vegas Raiders. Let's say they win both of those games, right? They move to 8-6. Then they on Christmas Eve they host Joe Burrow and the Bengals, and then they finish. And then so echoes the Bengals, Bills, Jets. So is there a possible way they can take 2 of 3 of those games? I think it's possible. Likely, probably not. But I don't consider the game against Buffalo, the first one anyway, a must win. As long as you take care of business on the West Coast, you're 8-6. And then your destiny is in your own hands with the following 3 games hosting the Dolphins and the Bengals. Let's say you split those, that's up to 9 wins. And then does week 18 mean anything to Buffalo at that point?
Probably
Who knows?
with the Miami plan, I guess.
It could. Yeah, it absolutely could. Or are they in a situation where the Patriots do have a good conference record, which deals with tiebreakers? So that could absolutely help them in a situation, and maybe they'll be able to sneak in with 8 wins, with 9 wins, not 8 wins, 9 wins. And the Bengals, their schedule is very difficult as well. I don't know if you've seen it, Peter, but the Bengals, well, I'm sure we'll talk about the Bengals later. They have a very difficult schedule. I think it's harder than the Patriots, and it starts this week when they play the Chiefs.
It just concerned me that the Jets actually have a competent quarterback nowadays, unless Saleh puts Wilson back in.
Well, we'll see this week. The Patriots, I'm sorry. The Jets play the Vikings. That's a tough game. If the Jets beat the Vikings this week, then I think that'll say a lot. If they end up losing to the Vikings, then I think that'll be beneficial for the Patriots. So we shall see how that rolls. All right, Peter, let's move on let's talk about the Cincinnati Bengals that we were just talking about. So the Bengals went into Tennessee and they beat the Titans 20-16 game. It was a low-scoring game in which the Bengals defense came up big in big spots. The Bengals improved to 7-4 on the year, and the Titans fall to 7-4. Joe Burrow was 22 of 37 for 270 yards and a touchdown. T. Higgins, 7 catches, 114 receiving yards for a touchdown. Derrick Henry was held in check. He was held to 38 rushing yards on 17 carries. Ryan Tannehill was 22 of 34 for 294 yards. And one thing that I will say in this game, Peter, so with the Bengals, this was a big win for them, of course, with playoff implications, on top of the fact that they're going to get Jamar Chase back this coming week.
Yeah, they've won 3 in a row without him. I thought that their offense would have looked inept. Sometimes it did, and even with no Joe Mixon in this game, but they figured out how to win. On the other side, I mean, the Titans, they played to their schedule, I guess. I mean, I gotta defend the Eagles. They do that too, but because that's why they're 10-1. Their schedule is a joke. But I mean, the Titans have lost to the Chiefs, the Bengals, and somebody else, right? The Bills, right? They got blown out Monday Night
Oh
Football.
yeah, yep.
That's who they got to
And
face in the
the
playoffs.
Giants in week 1.
Oh yeah, and the Giants. But the Bills, the Bengals, and the Chiefs, and obviously they have to face probably at least 2 of them in the playoffs. So they might be a little fraudulent, but they'll make the playoffs just because the AFC South is terrible.
Yeah, I tell you what, the Tennessee Titans, I picked them to win the AFC South. They're going to win the AFC South, but I don't think they're a team that necessarily can compete with those teams and can put up a lot of points. Like, it's when you're facing these great quarterbacks, like let's say you're playing the Chiefs, it's really difficult for Ryan Tannehill and a slow pedestrian Tennessee Titans offense to really keep up. And I think that's ultimately that they have a ceiling on this team. Is it to win a playoff? Can they win a playoff game? I think they can. Can they get to the AFC title game? I think that's a little bit of a stretch in my opinion. But like, look, they're going to win the division, but they just have too few skill position players in the quarterback position. Sort of limits what they can do.
Yeah, it's all on Derrick Henry at this point.
Yeah, and he can only go so far. He's a running back. He can only do so much. Other side of thing with the Bengals, it feels like the offensive line has gotten a little bit better. Burrow was only sacked once in this game. And look, ever since they kind of got beat by the Cleveland Browns on Halloween, they've kind of been buttoned up in terms of the offensive line. And look, since they've lost on that Halloween game, when they lost, I think it was 32-13. The offense has put up 42 points against the Panthers, 37 points against the Steelers, and then 20 points against a good Titans defense. So they've absolutely benefited here offensively, and I think that's one thing that the Bengals can look at going forward. With additionally getting a guy like Jamar Chase back.
Dang, I'm just looking at their schedule. You just brought that up. It is
look at it.
Slog fest. Holy crap!
Yeah, read it, Peter.
Home versus the Chiefs, home versus the Browns. That's not a gimme either. Walton came back this week. At the Bucs, at the Patriots, home versus the Bills, and then the finish it off home versus the Ravens.
That's tougher than the Patriots, in my opinion.
Yeah, for sure. And they're obviously dogfighting for the AFC North. I keep doing that. AFC North.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure we'll talk about them after this, but they're so lucky that the Jaguars beat the Ravens because the Ravens' schedule is dog food until week 18. So.
Yeah, and we can get into that game right now. It's a good segue. So, this was a game where I'll tell you what, Peter. I'll give you a little bit of a backstory here. I saw the game with the line was -3, right, or -3.5, and I was like, really, that line is odd. I understand Jacksonville's at home, but I don't know. It feels like this is a game in which Lamar Jackson and the Ravens offense should win the game like 37-20. They should just blow them out. And Vegas pretty much nailed it here because the Jaguars were in this game throughout. They ended up winning the game over the Ravens 28-27. The Jaguars improved to 4-7 on the year. The Ravens fall to 7-4. They blow another fourth quarter lead. The Jaguars scored 18 points in the fourth quarter to win the game. Doug Peterson went for 2 to win the game with, I think it was, 20 seconds left to go up 28-27. Trevor Lawrence was good in this game. It might have been the best game he's had as a pro. He was 29 of 37 for 321 yards and 3 touchdowns. Other side of things, Lamar Jackson was 16 of 32 for 254 yards and a touchdown. And look, Peter, the Ravens have blown at least 3 to 4 fourth quarter leads here. And that's been responsible. It feels like that's been the theme for them all season long. And they're not able to pull away in the AFC North, let alone the AFC. And I think they should be. Look, they've had a lot of games in which they should have won that they lost. In particular, week 2 against Miami. Do you remember that game? They lost 42-38. They were up, I think, 35-17. They lost to the Bills 23-20. That was a winnable game. Do you remember when John Harbaugh went for it on 4th and goal instead of just kicking it to tie it? They lost to the Giants 24-20. They blew a lead there. And then, of course, they lost to the Jaguars here 28-27, in which they blew another lead. So, I think this Lamar Jackson is talented. He really is, but it feels like there is definitely a disconnect here with this team, whether it's with the coaching staff or the mentality. I don't know. Something's wrong.
Yeah, I mean, their offense, not to give them an excuse, they don't really have a wide receiver one. They're all hurt. So, you could argue that Mark Andrews is their wide receiver one, and he probably could be. But, yeah, I mean, the Ravens, that was bad. They can't score in the fourth quarter. They're like the Bills. They don't score in the second half, which is absolutely weird. They I don't know what the lead was
In
to
this
go
game,
into halftime. Yeah,
it was
I feel like it was a ton. It
yeah,
was.
actually they
Oh
were only
no.
up 10-9. Yeah, I think it was 10-9.
All right, maybe not, but they usually blow people out in the first half and then just melt like the Bills in the second half, which is a little weird. I mean,
That
their
was like the
defense,
Dolphins game, yeah.
yeah, their defense let them down though. There's no
Mm,
pass rush. Trevor Lawrence looked actually great. So,
he did.
and
He did.
Vegas loves the Jaguars. I don't know
They
why.
they
They
do. Like
love the
the
Jaguars.
line just looked so weird to me. I was like, really? 3.5 points? Like, look, the Ravens should win this game by 2 touchdowns. They absolutely should. And they're costing themselves a real lot in this kind of division here. I ultimately think, look, their division, I should say their schedule is softer than the Bengals, so I ultimately will pick them to win the AFC North. But it's tough to really pick them in the playoffs when they haven't been able to really hold leads. They haven't been able to do a lot of things in the fourth quarter, and that scares me heading into the playoffs. And it's not like they have a young roster. They have some veterans on that roster. Lamar Jackson, this isn't his first rodeo. Mark Andrews and company, they've all been there. They have a veteran offensive line. John Harbaugh has been the coach of the Ravens for, I think, 15 years or 14 years, whatever it is. But they just cannot hold the leads here. I understand your point about not having a wide receiver one. That's absolutely the case. They've dealt with a multitude of injuries on that front throughout the season, with the running back position as well. And could that be a reason why the offense has kind of been stagnant at times? Absolutely. But when you're up big, I know this game they weren't necessarily up big, but when you're up, especially when you're playing a team like the Jacksonville Jaguars, you got to hold that lead. You have to.
I agree. I mean, I will pick them to win the AFC North as well because they have a free win next week or this week, I should say. You don't even have to ask for what team that is. Everyone should know. And then, I mean, their schedule is easy, but like they do have 4 of their last 5 games versus divisional opponents. So anything could happen there.
Yeah. And I believe one of them is against the Browns with Deshaun Watson. I believe another one is the Steelers, who do play the Ravens tough.
Yeah, they play the Steelers in 2 weeks and then 5 weeks. Oh, Happy New Year.
But yeah, I agree with you. Ultimately, they win the AFC North. All right, Peter, I guess we'll stick with the AFC North here. Let's talk about the Cleveland Browns and the Tampa Bay Bucs. This was my premium pick of the week. You also picked the Bucs in this game. Tom Brady off of a bye week. Jacoby Brissett's last start with the Browns. The Browns have looked like they've kind of mailed it in for the last 2 or 3 weeks, and somehow they came out this game with they came out on fire. They ended up scoring 10 points in the first quarter. They ended up rallying in the fourth quarter to tie the game and winning the game in overtime to defeat Tom Brady and the Bucs 23-17. Jacoby Brissett was 23 of 37 for 210 yards, a touchdown, and an interception. Nick Chubb, he scored a touchdown in this game as well. He had 26 carries for 116 yards. Tom Brady and the Bucs fall to 5-6 on the year. They're now 2-3 on the road. Brady was 29 of 43 for 246 yards and 2 touchdowns. He was sacked 3 times in the game. Rashad White was the leading rusher for the Bucs. He had 14 carries for 64 yards. Chris Godwin was awesome in this game. 12 catches, 110 yards, and a touchdown. Our guy Mike Evans was a no-show. He had 2 catches for 31 yards on 9 targets, Peter. 9 targets. So the Bucs fall to 5-6. Cleveland moves to 4-7. So the Bucs, do they still have the NFC North, NFC South on lock?
I mean, in theory they do, but the Falcons schedule isn't that. I mean, maybe it's a little hard for the Falcons. Steelers, Saints, Ravens, Cardinals, Bucks. I think that week 18 will be for the division ultimately, which is absolutely sad to say.
Crazy.
Because that division is absolutely terrible. But I mean, yeah, Mike Evans, that's scaring me. He's obviously my favorite receiver. If you haven't figured that out already. He kind of looks a lot. I think he is a little hurt. You should have traded him to me, to be honest. But we won't talk about that. But I mean, the Bucks offense looked inept. Even without Leonard Fournette, they still can't run the ball. I don't know if that's more on the O line or not. But and then Tom Brady looked inaccurate probably all day. He was missing receivers. Even Chris Godwin, he just came back to earth. He scored 2 touchdowns in the last 2 games, I think. But I don't know. I mean, possible concern for the Bucks, I guess, because they are what do you say they are? 5-6.
5-6, yeah.
But they probably will win the division. And mark my words, because I said this on Bo Sox too. Don't be surprised when they're in the Super Bowl, and then we look back in like 2 months, and then
you're
they're
still
like,
riding,
"Oh, what just happened?" I don't know. I mean, that whole NFC is terrible.
I know it is. I agree with you. But the reason why I don't think Tom Brady and company will be in the Super Bowl is because of the coaching staff. And I think Todd Bowles really hamstrings this team, Peter. Let's Let's do the end of the fourth quarter sequence here. So the Bucs had a chance to win the game. It was on 1st and 10 at their own 25. They had all 3 timeouts with 32 seconds left. Brady had a 1-yard completion of Rashad White. The Bucs refused to call a timeout. They did not get their next play off until 15 seconds were left. Brady ended up connecting with Julio Jones to the 48-yard line of Cleveland, finally calling a timeout with 8 seconds left. And then Brady, Hail Mary, fell short and ended up in overtime. And I believe they had 3 possessions. Or they had at least 2 possessions in the game. They were not able to score anything in overtime. But Todd Bowles, he has been a failure in Tampa Bay. They're 5-6. They have a lot of talent. They haven't been able to gel together here. And I think he's the reason why this Bucs team, like, he's not the only reason, because I do think this Bucs roster is aging. I think the offensive line is beat up. I think the skill position players are aging. I think Leonard Fournette's getting up there. Mike Evans, I think he's deteriorating a little bit. I think that's fair to say. They didn't replace Gronk. They didn't really replace AB. They tried to replace him with Julio Jones. Julio Jones has been hurt a ton. So, and Tom Brady is 46 years old. So all that kind of has equaled a 5-6 football team. It hasn't necessarily been all on Tom Brady, but I don't think Tom Brady has done enough to really elevate the squad as far as he's done in years past that we've grown accustomed to for the last 20 or so years. And I said for the last couple of weeks, the Bucs are a 9 or 10 win football team. That's the reality of it. That's what they are. And I think 10 wins might be too much. I think they might be more an 8 to 9 win team, which is just crazy. And ultimately, I agree with you. I think that last game is going to come down for the division. I don't see the Bucs pulling away by any stretch of the imagination. I think it's going to be a inconsistent way to the season for them. And I think ultimately they will win the division. And I think ultimately they could potentially win a wild card game, but that's as far as I'll say it. Like I've been saying this for a while. This team is just not good. They're not.
Yeah, it's still time for them to blow it up. It's still time for them to fire Todd Bowles, because I don't know what you're doing if you're the Bucs, because you didn't trade for anybody in the trade deadline. You know Brady's either going to retire or walk.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. I mean, Todd Bowles failed in the Jets. Obviously, he's an amazing defensive coordinator last year, and that probably was the right decision to hire him in the first place. But I don't know. Maybe he's just not fit to be a head coach.
He's been bad, and it's not all on him, but I just don't think he's really done it. And I think it's not just Todd Bowles as well. I think Byron Leftwich, the offensive coordinator, he's gotten exposed, man. He has not been dialing up the right things. And the one thing I can never get out of my head is when they were playing in Germany and Tom Brady went for a passing route and the ball got intercepted and changed the whole impact of the game. It allowed the Seattle Seahawks to get back into the game. And I think Leftwich has not called the good plays here. I don't think he's done well developing his younger talent. And I think he is just as responsible for this team's struggles as Todd Bowles is. I think it's been a failure on epic proportions, and it's making Bruce Arians look good. And I don't think Bruce Arians is a good coach. You know how I feel about Bruce Arians, but the Bucs are 5-6, Peter. I don't think anybody predicted anything like this. They look old. They're beat up. They just play with no consistency at all. There's no flow. Tom Brady hasn't been able to get into a rhythm. He's clearly frustrated, as he should be, because I just think nothing around him is working. And I just think ultimately there is a ceiling with this team. I think, like I said, 8 to 9 wins, and the divisional round is their absolute ceiling. Now, I understand the NFC is wide open, but even then, I just think they're just inept in so many different ways, and it's why I think they'll ultimately fall short.
Tom Brady looks kind of old, too. He's missing throws, as I said in the beginning. He's missing receivers, even wide open. I mean, the receivers aren't helping him, so they drop the ball sometimes. But I don't know. It's pretty sad. Tom Brady's career is finally going to end.
Right? Isn't it the irony of it? Tom Brady is going to go like 8-9 in his last season as a pro. Like, it's just crazy to really even fathom. All right, Peter, let's switch gears here. Let's talk about my Vegas Raiders, Peter. Got 2 in a row now. They defeated the Seattle Seahawks, and it was a thriller game in overtime. But the story of this game was Josh Jacobs. Josh Jacobs had 33 carries for 229 rushing yards and 2 touchdowns. To pair that with 6 receptions for 74 yards, he had 303 yards himself, Josh Jacobs. Absolutely crazy. 303 yards yourself as a running back is absolutely absurd. And the Raiders win the game 40-34. Derek Carr in this one was 25 of 36 for 295 yards and 3 touchdowns. Other side of things, Geno Smith and company. They're starting to fall back down to earth. Geno Smith was 27 of 37 for 328 yards, 2 touchdowns, and a pick. Kenneth Walker, he had 14 carries for only 26 rushing yards. DK Metcalf was great in this game, though. He had 11 catches for 90 yards. The Seahawks fall to 6-5 on the year, and the Raiders move to 4-7. Like I said, the Raiders win their second consecutive game on the road after losing to Jeff Saturday and crew in the Colts. And now the Seahawks, after kind of going on a 4-game tear in the middle of the year, they've lost now 2 consecutive games. And this week they are heading to the Rams. So, Peter, what's your take? Do you think the Seahawks are back to earth and they're kind of right now they're sitting on the outside of the playoff picture in the NFC?
Yeah, because I think that unless the Giants fall out, because I don't think the Giants are good at all, I think that they'll be on the outside looking in. The only thing they'll have to worry about is the Giants. I think Washington's going to get in with their defense. I think Ron Rivera might win Coach of the Year. But, I mean, the Seahawks should be kind of worried. They should be in the quarterback hunt, even though that people at the beginning of the year, rightfully so, thought Geno was the guy. He's not. He will still win Comeback Player of the Year, though. And then Kenneth Walker, obviously, he's amazing. He will win Offensive Rookie of the Year because I'll rip to Dameon Pierce. He's hit that rookie wall.
Peter's giving out all the rewards, all the awards, I should say.
Yeah, and then on the other side, good job, the Raiders. They're hitting their stride just before we got to see them. They'll rip off wins right in a row. They want to stay on Sunday Night Football.
Good. Yes. Huge. But yeah, for me anyway, I think the Seahawks, similar to the Giants, they're a little fraudulent. Now, look, the NFC, like we've said, this whole entire show, the NFC is a weak conference. There will be teams that probably don't deserve a playoff spot that will get in. The Seahawks, Giants, Commanders, like they're all kind of in that middle of the pack, 5-6, 6-5, and they're all fighting for their playoff lives. Geno Smith has come back down to earth, in my opinion, but I think the defense has kind of let the Seahawks down lately. Allowing 40 points to this Raiders offense, which I will say, who is the biggest Josh McDaniels fan here, the Raiders offense for the most part of the year has been practically a dumpster fire. And they haven't been able to throw the ball with any consistency. Their pass catchers have all been hurt. Darren Waller hasn't played since like week 4. Josh Jacobs has been the only consistent part of the offense, other than Devontae Adams, who at his times has also struggled.
He's laid 2 goose eggs, once by himself and once with the flu. So,
but Josh Jacobs has been the only consistent link for this Raiders offense. You pretty much take out Josh Jacobs, you're going to win the game.
It's a good story. It's a good story, Josh Jacobs. He obviously started the Hall of Fame game. I thought he was going to be buried.
Me too. I remember saying that
in the beginning of the season, and then obviously he's going to get paid next year.
Oh yeah, I don't think it's going to be in Vegas, but yeah, you're right. So backstory, like Peter was saying, Josh Jacobs was the only Raiders starter playing in the Hall of Fame game in the preseason. He was the only Raiders starter on offense. It was Jarrett Stidham. It was all of the second and third stringers and Josh Jacobs. To me, an alarm rang in my head, and I said, I'm not drafting Josh Jacobs in any league. He's going to get cut, or Josh is just going to bench him for Amir Abdullah or Brandon Bolden.
Sure. Yeah.
So I was clearly wrong.
And I think he's rookie. I think he's running back 4.
Yeah, and I traded him for him in one fantasy league, ironically enough.
Oh, there you go.
But yeah, I was totally wrong on that, and McDaniels threw us a curveball, so maybe he just didn't have his stuff together, and I don't know, it was just, whatever it is, he is now he's a top 5 running back in this league right now, this season anyway, and he's a big reason why the Raiders have won 2 games in a row. The Raiders, like I said, 4-7 on the year, and the Seahawks fall to 6-5, and the Seahawks are pedestrian. Do they want to pay Geno Smith? I still think they're probably going to give him like a 2-year extension. I don't think they're going to commit like the 4-year and give him $100 million or anything like that. But they're probably going to give him a 2-year deal worth $40 million, probably $20 million a year, something along those lines. He's going to earn an extension, but is he going to be the lead guy in Seattle for the long term? I still think that is yet to be seen. But for this year, Geno Smith has been able to do is just crazy. Everybody thought that they were going to be a top 5 in terms of draft picks this year. Like they were going to be a top 3, top 5 draft pick, and that has not been the case at all because they're fighting for their playoff lives. And look, at worst, what are they, 8-9 this year?
Yeah, they are currently 16th in the draft order, but they do have a top 5 pick.
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Unlimited.
Limited.
But yeah, good on the Seahawks, good on the Raiders. And assuming that going back to Sunday Night Football doesn't really matter. Well, for us it does. Assuming that they can't move, so they can't move the games on Saturday, right?
No.
All right, so it's gonna be Sunday Night Football because I assume CBS has protected Titans Chargers and the Fox has protected Bengals Bucs, and that's all the good games.
I would imagine so as well, but I guess we'll see. We'll see how it lies, I guess.
I don't want to drink at 10 a.m., please.
All right, let's stick with the NFC. Let's talk about the San Francisco 49ers and the New Orleans Saints. 49ers took care of business at home, winning 13-0. Dennis Allen continues to ride with Andy Dalton. Jameis Winston continues to ride the pine. Andy Dalton was 18 of 29 for 204 yards in this game. Alvin Kamara was held to only 13 rushing yards, and he was only held to 37 receiving yards. Jimmy Garoppolo, he did enough in this game. He was 26 of 37 for 222 yards and a touchdown. Christian McCaffrey was mostly held in check. He was banged up as well. He had 11 carries for 32 yards. He also had 4 receptions for 17 receiving yards. San Fran moves to 7-4 on the year, and the Saints fall to 4-8. So on one side of the coin, the 49ers look like they're arguably the best team in the NFC. And then the other side of the coin with the Saints, they seem to be falling and falling fast, which is unfortunate for them because the NFC South is wide open, as we've kind of said. And a lot of people like the Saints as sleepers this year, and that hasn't been the case. The Saints have now lost 3 of their last 4.
Yeah, they do. They could have took a stranglehold on this division. They're only 1 game back, which is an absolute joke. I don't get Dennis Allen should be fired if Jameis Winston doesn't play ever again. I don't get why they keep rolling out stupid red rifle Andy Dalton. Obviously, he's a good story, but you got to see what you have with Jameis. You have him signed for next year. You got to know if you have to draft a quarterback or not. I don't think they are.
They don't have a first-round pick.
Yeah, they don't have a first-round pick. Chris Olave is good, but I don't think he's worth the first-round pick. But, I mean, it is what it is. Good job on the 49ers. Elijah Mitchell's out 6 to 8 weeks. So probably good on you with the Christian McCaffrey trade. But, I mean, obviously he gets hurt when I need him the most, when I'm fighting for every spot in every playoff league or every fantasy league in the playoffs. I'm like 6th place. I need him so bad. And then Alvin Kamara, I'll take blame for that too, because I traded with Rondé Stevenson for him like 3 weeks ago when Damian Harris was coming back, and I thought that not that he was gonna evenly split, but you know, Damian Harris gets hurt too, so it is what it is.
Yeah, and Kamara, he hasn't been able to get his footing. There is a disconnect between the Saints and Dennis Allen. There is. I've said it for a month now. There's got to be a reason why Jameis Winston hasn't been on the field since week 3 or whatever.
He's still holding the clipboard all in full pads. He can't be that hurt.
It's not an injury thing to me. And Winston even said it. He's like, I didn't know you could lose jobs from being hurt. And it makes no sense because it's not like Andy Dalton's playing well. He's not. He's simply
put in Taysom
isn't.
Hill. I don't care. It's better than Andy Dalton. I don't really.
And Kamara looked frustrated. Michael Thomas didn't even play. Michael Thomas said, I'll catch you next year. Jarvis Landry, he barely been on the field this year. And look, the Saints, they spent a decent chunk of change this year. A lot of people, like I said, projected them to win 10 games. Some people even said, Peter, that they could be a team like the Eagles are now, a team nobody was talking about, a team that could really make some noise, right? And that has been the furthest thing from the truth possible because, like I said, Kamara has had his worst year as a pro. Andy Dalton, Jameis Winston, it's been a quarterback conundrum. Both haven't. Look, Winston hasn't been on the field, and Dalton hasn't played well at all. Jarvis Landry hasn't played. Michael Thomas hasn't played. You know, it's just Olave's been good. But other than that, there really isn't many moral victories if you're the Saints that you can really take to 2023. And Dennis Allen was somebody that a lot of people liked. He struggled in his first go-around as a coach with the Raiders, and a lot of people said, look, he spent 10 years as the defensive coordinator for the Saints. He knows the operation. He knows the personnel. He knows the front office. He knows the ownership. It's going to click. And it hasn't. And I'm not saying he's going to be one and done because I don't think Mickey Loomis is going to do it. So the Saints general manager, he's usually very calculated and he's very, he waits, takes his time. But they need to figure out the quarterback position. Mickey Loomis has to figure out why Jameis Winston isn't on the field. Did Jameis Winston do something wrong off the field? Did he mouth off to Dennis Allen? There is something more here because it's simply not Andy Dalton's playing well because he isn't. Look, Andy Dalton has struggled at times this year. Not every game. He's had some nice flashes like Andy Dalton always does. But, Peter, the Saints have lost 3 of the last 4 games. And look, their last 4 games, right? They scored 13 points offensively, 10 points offensively. They scored 27 against the Rams. The Rams, of course, have been a dumpster fire, and they didn't score a point against the 49ers. The Saints struggled in the red zone, and not even getting in the end zone or even a simple field goal here does not bode well if you're the Saints.
Yeah, they should have, as I keep saying, they should have benched him right after the pick 6 versus the Cardinals. I'm pretty sure that's like week 7, and
Yeah, you said
we're
like
already in a
2
week
months ago.
13. So it is what it is. You bet. If you're the Saints, you better get on your knees and pray for Sean Payton back, which I don't think is going to happen. But
I don't think so either. It felt like Sean Payton knew the writing was in the wall here, and he got out of town just in time
they
before
do
the
own his
demise.
rights, though. I think, right?
I believe they do, but I think Payton had a good relationship with everybody there. Like when he's going to get into coaching again, it's not going to be an issue. All right, Peter, let's talk about the Sunday night football game. And it was actually an exciting one for the most part. We saw a lot of scoring. The Eagles ended up edging out the Packers 40-33. Jalen Hurts moved to 10-1. The Eagles are 10-1. Jalen Hurts was 16 of 28 for 153 yards and 2 touchdowns. But Miles Sanders, it felt like, stole the show for me anyway. He had 21 carries for 143 rushing yards and 2 touchdowns on the ground. He averaged almost 7 yards per carry. The Packers defense really had nothing on him. Other side of things with the Packers, things just get bad to worse if you're the Packers. Packers fall to 4-8 on the year. They moved to 1-5 on the road this year. Aaron Rodgers gets hurt in the game. He leaves the game from an oblique injury is what they called it. Rodgers was 11 of 16, 140 yards, 2 touchdowns and 2 interceptions. But Rodgers was on the Pat McAfee show on Tuesday, and he talked about how the scans came back clear, and he expects to play this coming week against the Bears. So it's got to be a real kick in the stones if you're the Packers. Your offense finally clicks. Christian Watson continues to be a touchdown machine. You put up 33 points, and your defense isn't good enough, and you lose the game 40-33, and your playoff hopes are gone.
Yeah, I don't get the Packers. Beginning of the year, I thought they were going to be a top 5 defense, and they're probably a bottom 5 defense. They can't stop the run to save them life. Hand up, I traded Miles Sanders to Dylan, so that might have been my fault that Miles Sanders literally went off. So maybe that's why. I mean, in the whole fourth quarter, they're just running the ball, either with Hurts or Miles Sanders. Jalen Hurts doesn't run the ball anymore. I mean, throw the ball anymore. He's kind of like Lamar Jackson at this point.
Where are you?
No, because I mean, he finds a way to win, and I can't doubt that, I guess.
Yeah.
But it is what it is. Maybe the Packers know that they have something in Jordan Love. I know that he came in and threw a touchdown, which is good to see.
Yeah,
but if you said Aaron Rodgers is playing, Aaron Rodgers is going to play. But.
Yeah, I agree. And the Jordan Love thing, like we just said, Jordan Love was 6 of 9 in the game. Look, if you're the Packers, this has to be such a disappointing year. You pay Aaron Rodgers all that money. He commits to 3 years. You supposedly have a top 5 defense. You came off a disappointing loss in the playoffs against the 49ers. You did lose Devontae Adams, but look, you felt like you were in a position in a wide open NFC, right? And that just did not come to fruition at all. Matt LaFleur and company, like, wow, man, absolute 4-8. You're the Green Bay Packers, and everything has been bad. The offense has been bad. The defense has been bad. The special teams continues to suck. It's just nothing has been good. And who even knows where Aaron Rodgers' head is at? Does he decide to just walk away and say, screw this, I'm leaving? Do the Packers try to trade him? There's a lot of things that are going to go forward here if you're the Packers in that organization. Did Jordan Love excite you? I know, even if you're a Jordan Love fan, right? Like, let's say you were a fan of the pick or whatever. The Packers pretty much think he sucks because they just gave Aaron Rodgers a 3-year extension, which would move Jordan Love past his rookie deal. So what are you going to have him be the backup for 6-7 years? I don't know. It just feels like a pipe dream at that point. It feels to me they don't believe in Jordan Love. Aaron Rodgers he hasn't been healthy this year, but he hasn't put the team in the best point of success. It feels like he hasn't necessarily bought in all the way. He clearly doesn't like he's clearly been frustrated with his younger receivers up until 2 weeks ago when Christian Watson kind of burst onto the scene. I don't know. If you're the Packers, you cannot really take many positives from this season away.
Hey, I mean, heads are going to roll. Maybe Matt LaFleur gets fired. The defensive coordinator definitely is going to get fired.
Joe Barry's gone.
And their special teams coordinator is definitely going to get fired.
They just brought in Rich Bisaccia, the Raiders interim coach.
I don't care. It still looks terrible.
It's on Matt LaFleur.
They might have Christian Watson. They might have something in him. I like him.
Yeah, I do too.
Machine, as you said, and they could convince him. I mean, Christian Watson's not bad. And they do have the 8th pick. I mean, they could finally pull the trigger and draft a receiver or get one for the 8th pick. I mean, somebody will want that.
But you know what's crazy? The Packers are going to have a top 10 pick, and maybe their biggest need isn't really receiver anymore. Maybe it's somebody to help out on that defense because they look slow. The secondary has been continuously burnt. I don't know. This is a very interesting offseason for the Packers. Like you said, I think the defensive coordinator is likely gone. I think Matt LaFleur, he's not going to get fired, but he's going to be on notice. And if the Packers have another season like they do this, like they did in 2022, it's going to be the end of Matt LaFleur, and it's likely going to be the end of Aaron Rodgers in Green Bay. I think this is going to be, it's a real reality check if you're the Packers front office, because you got to be sitting here like really annoyed. Like, we're really going to win 7 games this year. We could have won 7 games with Jordan Love. We just gave Aaron Rodgers $50 million a year for 3 years. And we just
that's what you get. That's what you get, Aaron Rodgers. I keep beating this drum, but if you want $50 million and you still complain that there's no help around him, like, take a pay cut. You didn't have to sign that. Like, take $30 million. What are you doing?
It's true.
It's the reason why Adams isn't there anymore. So.
Do you think the Packers should entertain trading Aaron Rodgers?
No, because unless they get CJ Stroud or Bryce Young, but no, I don't think they have enough capital to do that. Even if they trade Aaron Rodgers away, I still think they're in win now mode, and they'll probably go all in, as you said, after the season.
I agree. Realistically,
because what do you have? 2 years left of Aaron Rodgers?
2 years left. Yeah, they signed him in 3 years. So I don't think he's going to play the 3 years at this point, but maybe I'm wrong. Especially if the money is good and stuff like that, maybe he'll stick around. Yeah, the landing spots for Aaron Rodgers. I thought Denver was a great one. That obviously isn't going to happen. If you're Carolina, you're going to have a low pick. Do you consider it? If you're Seattle, do you just say Geno's not the answer? We have all these picks from Russell Wilson. Let's go get Rodgers. I don't. It feels unlikely to me. It feels like a pipe dream. Rodgers should be in Green Bay in 2023. Look, this is what the Packers wanted. This is the bed they wanted. Now they're going to make it. So,
do you think Houston would do that? They do have Cleveland's pick. I mean,
I'd be surprised because they're just so far away. Like, if you want Aaron Rodgers, you have to be like a quarterback away. So Carolina was a bad example, but Seattle, they have DK Metcalf, Lockett. They have a good defense. Pete Carroll isn't going to be coaching for 10 more years. He probably has another couple years coaching.
So the Titans.
Maybe the Titans. That's a good example with Mike Vrabel and company. Did they say finally enough with Ryan Tannehill? That'd be an intriguing one. So yeah, Tennessee and Seattle are two that it makes sense.
Or it's a pipe dream, but the Patriots, please. No, there's no way.
Do that.
No
I don't
way
think they'd ever do that.
But
trying to think of maybe the Giants.
Maybe I'm thinking AFC because I don't think they want to trade them in.
True.
I was gonna say the Vikings, but like they obviously can't do that.
Yeah, no, I think Cousins has played well enough.
Or even the Lions, like they have capital out the yin yang.
Yeah, I don't think they're definitely not doing that. Yeah, if Aaron Rodgers moves, I like the Tennessee example you gave. Tennessee or Seattle would be my two, but I think he stays. I think that quarterback movement that everybody got like high of the last couple of years, I don't think we're going to see much of that this year in terms of like the big like.
No, because there's 2 names coming out of college. So.
Yeah, and I like you'll get the Baker Mayfield, Carson Wentz, like Sam Darnold. You'll get those guys moving, but you're not going to get because this past year, look, we had Russell Wilson, Deshaun Watson, Aaron Rodgers' name was in trade talks. Like, Tom Brady's name was floated. Like, there was a lot of names and a lot of movement. This year is not going to be that exciting.
Don't forget about Matt Ryan.
Matt Ryan, yes. Of course. How could I forget about Matty Ice and company, Peter? All right, Peter. So this was a very big week for playoff seeding. So I'll just give you the AFC playoff seeding if the playoffs started tomorrow. The Chiefs are the number 1 seed. The Dolphins are the 2 seed. Titans are the 3 seed. The Ravens are the 4 seed. Those are your division winners as currently stated. The wild cards right now, the Bills are 5th right now. The Bengals are 6th. Jets are 7th. And then on the bubble, the Patriots and the Chargers. I feel like those are the only 2 bubble teams per se. I'm not going to call the Colts a bubble team. They're not. NFC side of things. Eagles are the 1 seed. The Vikings are the 2 seed. The Niners are the 3 seed. The Bucs are the 4 seed. Those are your division leaders. Wild cards, the Cowboys, which is just crazy, is the 5 seed. The Giants are the 6 seed. The Commanders are the 7 seed. And then your bubble teams in the NFC are the Seattle Seahawks, the Atlanta Falcons. And then, you know what? I will throw the Detroit Lions in there. I'll throw them in there. Okay, Peter. So, of the bubble teams I listed in the other conference, which team do you think is most likely to make the playoffs?
So I'll do the easy answer with the Seahawks or even the Falcons. I think the Giants are ultimately going to get knocked out by one of those teams. Even the Lions, I'll give you that, Noah. No, I mean on the other side, maybe if Saleh says what he says and he wants to go back to Zach Wilson. I know he said that yesterday.
He did.
I don't know why, but if Zach Wilson come back, they will not be in the playoffs. The Patriots or the Chargers. Well, I'll pick the Chargers over the Patriots as of now because of their schedule, but and their quarterback, to be honest. But
who do the Chargers have left in their schedule? I have no familiarity who they have left. I'll look that up here quick. Pull it up. All right. For me anyway, I'll answer that question while Peter looks it up. I think the Seattle Seahawks are a great answer, Peter. I think they are. They're right in the thing. They're one game out here. And I think they're a team that is the most obvious choice. Now, Peter, I'll answer my own question here while you continue to look that up. Which team is most likely to not make the playoffs that are currently in? My answer is the New York Jets. That's my answer. I don't think the Jets are going to make the playoffs. I understand it looks great now. Jets have a little bit of a tough road coming ahead. I'm not really sold on Mike White like everybody else, and I'm clearly not sold on Zach Wilson. So I tell you what, Jets aren't making the playoffs.
I want to pick the Bills so bad.
To what?
To miss the playoffs.
That'd be awesome.
So bad because I think Josh Allen is more hurt than people believe.
That would be awesome.
He was missing throws all day on Thanksgiving, and Tony Romo alluded to that. I think they should have. You're right. They should have sat him versus the Vikings.
Played him for no reason.
Yeah, and I want them to so bad. They're only one game back of the Jets, and then obviously 2 is the Patriots. If they lose to the Patriots on Thursday, maybe press the panic button. Maybe.
Well, look, if the Bills right now are 8-3, the Patriots are 6-5. So you just do that math, right? Patriots have to play the Bills twice. They win both games. It's who knows. So
because I think the Dolphins don't sleep on the Dolphins getting the number 1 seed, but I think they got the division locked up.
Yeah, I will tell you what. If the Bills lose on Thursday, well, the Bills still have to play the Dolphins again. So I'm not going to say locked up, but it's a big game Thursday for AFC East implications. Did you find the Chargers schedule?
So the Chargers are at your Raiders this week.
That's a sneaky game.
You only say that because you're a Raiders fan.
No, I'm not. They're lucky they beat the Cardinals this week.
I'll rip to the Chargers. Never mind. They face the Dolphins at home. They face the Titans at home.
Loss.
They face Jeff Saturday.
Win.
They face the Rams, and then they face Mr. Unlimited.
Yeah, they're gonna win 9 games. I think they're out.
Yeah, they'll
9-8.
They could go 3 they'll for sure go 3-3. They might go 4-2, maybe.
I have them going 3-3. I have them 9-8. I think a 9-8 team could get in. I really do. We'll see how it shakes out. Now, Peter, what was your answer? Which team in the playoffs currently do you see not making the playoffs, or most likely not?
I'm gonna go. So you went with the Giants. I won't pick the Giants. I mean, all right, I'm gonna pick the Bills just to be real fun, and you can replay the last 30 seconds of that clip. It could happen. I mean, Josh Allen is really hurt, I think.
Wow, that'd be crazy. That'd be crazy. But I'm still going with the Jets. I'm just not believing. I'm still not. All right, Peter, before we get into our picks. So we talked about last week's how it was an array of backup quarterbacks starting. Kyle Allen with the Texans, Mike White with the Jets, Sam Darnold with the Panthers. So whose backup was the best last week? Because we'll take Kyle Allen out of the equation, but Sam Darnold or Mike White, who did you prefer?
Obviously, Mike White balled out versus the Bears, but it was the Bears, so you got to temper expectations there. I'm going to go with Sam Darnold. He got his job for next week. He put out a win. I know it was versus the irrelevant team, but, I mean, good for Sam Darnold. I mean, maybe he can back up whoever they're going to draft next year. They got to pick somebody. I mean, unless it's Matt Corral.
Yeah, we'll see how that goes. But it was a good performance from Darnold. They got the win, and he dealt with that high ankle sprain. He missed like 2 months of the year. It was good to see him finally out there. But yeah, Mike White showed up, and he takes the.
He was really good, and I feel bad for him because his job's gonna get taken away again.
You think so, huh? I think if he keeps winning, he keeps it. So we'll see.
I mean, I don't know. Why would Saul bring that up for no reason?
Because I think they're worried about Zach. I think ownership and company is, hey, like, we're okay with you putting Mike White in, but do not kill Zach Wilson. We spent a number 2 overall pick. We have a lot invested in him. I think that's more like keep pumping up his tires. Don't let it. And I think Zach Wilson's confidence is 0 right now. And
when is he a free agent? Like 2 years?
Oh yeah, he's 2 years if they don't put in his 50-year option. So yeah, but I think they're trying to get his confidence up, keep him motivated and hungry.
I think they're gonna trade him.
They might, but I think this is a big
Sneaky suspicion. Jimmy Garoppolo is gonna go there. Not for Zach Wilson, but I think Garoppolo is gonna go there.
ooh.
Got the Saleh connection. He's
That'd
gonna
be
come off
something.
of a Super Bowl win, probably. I mean,
Jesus Christ. The Jimmy Garoppolo saga always amazes me, man.
for their sake, I hope they make it to the Super Bowl or as far as possible.
Oh, just for the drama of it all.
Yeah.
All right, Peter. So let's give our picks. You want to begin?
All right, I'll do it. There's a theme this week. I love dogs this week. First game, I have the Jets +3 versus the Vikings. Rewind probably like to the beginning of the episode. I hate the Vikings. I think their defense is overrated. Mike White is amazing, and the Jets have a top 5 defense, and I think Sauce Gardner will give Justin Jefferson some problem.
Ooh,
I gotta look
okay.
this up for next week, but has Sauce Gardner gave up a touchdown yet? I don't think so.
I know Chase Claypool had a nice catch over him, but it wasn't a touchdown.
Yeah, I don't think so. I'm gonna look that up for next week.
Peter, I'm going to go against you here. I'm going to go with the Vikings -3. I'm still saying the Jets are pretenders, and I think that your guy, Mike White, comes back to earth a little bit. And I think the Vikings, look, they had 10 days off. I think Justin Jefferson is rolling. I think Kirk Cousins got some confidence after that primetime win. I like the Vikings here -3 at home.
This should be on your slate too. Ravens -8.5 versus Mr. Unlimited. That's easy. That's all I can say. They're not going to score. Like,
I'm not picking
at all.
I'm not picking the Ravens just because it's the Ravens.
Yeah, but like how they can't lose. They can't lose by less than 9 points. They can't.
Sure, I did think about it, but I didn't go with it. My next pick, I'm going to pick the over 43.5 with the Packers-Bears game. I think the Aaron Rodgers and the Packers offense figured out some things here. I like them to score in this game. Justin Fields is slated to be back. The Bears offense, when Fields has been out there, has been dynamic. I think this game is an easy over, Peter. I like Packers-Bears over 43.5.
Next pick. Here you go, Matt. You said on both sides, crap talk the Dolphins way too much. So Dolphins +3.5. There you go. I mean,
there you go.
Tua's gonna
awesome.
win MVP if Mahomes doesn't. They're
Mahomes
gonna
dies.
Yeah, they're gonna
or
make
Hurts though. I think you need Mahomes and Hurts to go down.
They're gonna make the number 1 seed if Mahomes dies.
And Hurts.
They're really good. I mean, they're gonna win the division for sure. So Mark
Peter hates the Bills now. Oh, it's so funny.
Yeah,
all right.
There you go, Matt.
Okay, my next pick. I'm gonna go with the Falcons +1. So remember when they started off the year 6-0 against the spread? I'm hoping for some magic here. The Falcons are +1 here. Look, this game, I've seen other places it's a pick 'em, but I like them +1 against the Pittsburgh Steelers. They're at home. The Falcons are coming off a really brutal way to lose a game against the Commanders. I think they bounce back. The division is still within grasp. I like them here +1 on top of the Steelers coming off a short week against their Monday night game.
I think they have covered 2 weeks in a row. So
okay, boom, make it 3 in a row.
Next pick, my premium pick of the week: Titans +5 versus the Jaguars. The Vegas loves the Jaguars for some reason. I think the Titans defense is going to give Trevor Lawrence a lot of problems.
Boom. All right, my next one, Peter. I'm gonna go with my premium pick of the week: Chiefs -2.5 over the Bengals. The Chiefs are going to Cincinnati. The last time they went to Cincinnati for a regular season game, the Bengals ended up winning the game. It was a close game. The Bengals ended up winning it. I think the Chiefs the Chiefs lost in the AFC title game against the Bengals. Remember that? The Chiefs are going to be motivated, ready to win this game. Chiefs -2.5. I think they're the best team in the NFL. I think they're going to win the Super Bowl, and I think the Chiefs show the league that they're still the Kansas City Chiefs this week against the Bengals, who are still banged up. Jamar Chase, he's probably not at 100%, and Joe Mixon, his status is still uncertain.
Here, I can give you, mark this down. I'll give you -2. That's what it is right now on DraftKings Sportsbook.
Okay, so you want to give me that point?
Yeah, I'll give you that half point.
Half a point? All right. I'll text Matt to tell him. So it's -2?
It is -2.
I'm sending the text right now.
There you go. I didn't touch that game because I don't know what will happen. I won't be surprised if the Bengals win, but nobody picked Watson. I almost did it. Almost did it for the meme. Almost did it. Your brother is hyped about this.
Oh, I know he is. Yeah. Team Tatooine's quarterback 1, he says. That's his dynasty team name.
Yeah, there you go.
My last pick, Peter, I'm going to go over 43.5 for the Colts Cowboys. This is the Monday night game. I think the Cowboys offense has showed it can put up points, and I think they're going to put up some points in this one. The Colts defense, which has a great front seven, I still think Dallas will be able to throw the ball, and I think they'll be pretty good. And I think the Colts will score enough to hit the over 43.5.
I didn't give you the last pick. Last pick, Pats +5. I hate the Bills. I think, realistically, I think the Pats are going to bounce back. I don't think they're going to get blown out by the Bills. The Bills don't score in the second half, and I think Belichick will have them kind of ready to go. And
I love how Peter hates the Bills.
no, it's not that pick wasn't the Bills. That pick was always going to be there. But I hope the Patriots win. I'm going to
I
send
do
you
too.
a ton of laughing faces emojis when they lose.
Who are the Bills?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yep,
I'm going
it's
to tweet some Josh Allen memes.
It's going to be great.
All right, Peter. So I don't know if we're going to have time to hit it this week. So next week, we're going to talk some college football. Maybe we'll try to get Carr on because this week is a big week in college football. It's the championship games. So the top 4 in college football right now, as it currently stands, is number 1, Georgia. Number 2, Michigan after their win over Ohio State. Number 3, TCU. Number 4, USC. So right now, that would be the college football playoff if that started tomorrow. But it doesn't. There's still more games to be played. So we're going to have Carr on to break it all down soon.
Yeah, my number 1 team, obviously Alabama. They have 2 losses. Good job, me. And my number 2 team, Ohio State, they died. So
yeah, Ohio State got demolished by Michigan. That game was crazy. But you were right about Marvin Harrison Jr. He's a player.
Oh, nice. Can he win Heisman?
I don't. Well, you know what? I'm not sure now because C.J. Stroud really laid an egg. So
Bryce Young's not lighting it up either.
And they have 2 losses. He lit it up this week, but he missed a week or 2. What are the odds, Peter? Do you have them applicable?
I can pull them up.
Because Stroud did not have a good game at all. But he might have been so far in front of everybody else that he had the award locked up, but I'm not sure.
Let's see.
Yeah, we'll have Carr on either next week or the week after. Gotta have
it is Heisman winner. Oh, who's Caleb Williams?
Oh, the kid from USC, the quarterback. He's the favorite, huh?
Mine is 2,500.
Wow, what's Stroud?
Plus 3,000.
Stroud is really.
Bryce Young is. I'll give you money if you guess what that is. He is the last guy on that list.
He's probably then plus like 50,000.
He's plus 20,000. Yeah,
plus 20,000. But I'm telling you, Stroud was highly rated and highly considered until that performance. But yeah, Caleb Williams and USC, Lincoln Riley has that crew going in the right direction.
Dang, I gotta ask Carr if that's the next Patriot quarterback right there.
Caleb Williams? I don't think so. Caleb, I don't. I mean, I don't know. I mean, he's somebody that he's a run first sort of guy, makes some tight throws, and I don't think the Patriots will draft a quarterback this year. I think Caleb Williams is this year, as far as I know. Okay. Let's get into. Want to do top five questions not about football, Peter?
Yeah, you want me to ask them? I got them
sure.
ready to go. All right, number 1. Since Black Friday / Cyber Monday was last weekend, did you do Black Friday or Cyber Monday?
I purchased 2 things online on Black Friday.
On Black Friday, you didn't wait till Cyber Monday. Was there still deals?
Yes, there were deals. Yes.
Okay, nice. All right, number 2. How was your Thanksgiving at the Pombo household?
It was good. Portugal came through. Portugal came through. However, the Patriots fell short. That was unfortunate, but overall solid. How about you?
It was pretty good. Had a lot of turkey. I had some beast mac and cheese.
Did you? I didn't have mac and cheese.
When you start drinking, like 9 a.m.
Halftime for the Portugal game. So.
Oh, wow.
It wasn't as early as you thought. Yeah.
All right, number 3. Since Christmas season is coming around, and obviously it's already here. Mariah Carey said it was December 1st, but when do you guys put your Christmas tree up?
Mine was up on Saturday.
Oh, mine too. That's good.
Look at us.
All right, number 4, you might have to think about, so I might go to number 5.
Okay.
Best movie of the year.
Best movie of the year?
Or first one that pops into your mind.
Well,
I can tell you for sure it's not Black Panther 2 because I heard that Justin spoiled that for you.
Definitely wasn't Thor. I did not like Thor Love and Thunder at all.
I love that movie.
Really? I did not. I'm trying to think. Can you give me a couple? What was? I don't want to make you Google this. What was the number 1 grossing movie this year?
Top Gun. That's my answer.
I didn't see it.
Black Panther is good.
Didn't see it.
Oh, you didn't see that either?
No, Justin spoiled it for me.
Minions.
No.
Grossing movies. Why I looked this up? Number 5. Have you watched The Walking Dead yet?
No, Peter, I haven't. I told you this is a long-term goal of mine. It is not a short-term goal. So you're gonna have to check
Long-term.
back in with me in a couple weeks or a couple months.
Oh, Doctor Strange came out this year.
Okay, I like that.
Oh, Spider-Man No Way Home came out. Oh wait, no,
No, that was December.
uh Batman. Did that come out this
Yeah,
year?
that was March. I'll throw Batman. That was the best movie I saw. Was the new Batman. That was March, right?
Yeah, that was. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll throw that in there. A little long, but I'll take it. I mean, I didn't watch as many movies this year. I didn't like. I only went to the theater maybe 3 or 4 times. I saw Doctor Strange in theaters. I saw Thor in theaters, and I saw Batman in theaters. So 3 times. And I wanted to see Black Adam. I haven't gotten around to it, and I want to see Black Panther, which I will. So
I saw Black Panther this year. I saw Uncharted this year. That was pretty good. I saw Doctor Strange with you, I think, right? And then
yes, yep.
Thor. And then that's it, I think. Oh, good job, Marvel. How's in my wallet?
Jeez. Yeah, look at that. Boom. All right, Peter. Next week, we will update our NFL playoff scenarios. Peter will laugh at the Bills and Josh Allen if they lose. And like I said, within the next couple weeks, we're going to try to get Carr on to talk some college football.
Sounds good. We always love Carr.
Love Carr.
Stay hot.